Welcome back to Her Becoming. I'm your host, Dara Koenig. I don't know about you, but there have been seasons in my life where I've questioned whether I was really qualified to be in the room. I wondered if everyone else knew something I didn't, where I worked harder, stayed quieter, and hoped that eventually someone would tell me I belonged. If you've ever wrestled with imposter syndrome or felt like you've constantly had something to prove, today's conversation is for you. My guest today is Molly Kristick, Chief Marketing and Client Experience Officer at Clairvoy. But this conversation really isn't about job titles or career paths. It's about learning to trust the experience you've earned, finding your voice, and discovering that authentic leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to show up as yourself. One of my favorite moments in this conversation comes when Molly talks about letting go of the need to be liked. Instead of chasing approval, she's leading with confidence, compassion, and authenticity. It's a perspective I think every leader, and honestly, every woman needs to hear. Whether you're stepping into a new role or navigating a season of change, or simply trying to believe in yourself a little more than you did yesterday, I hope Molly's story reminds you that confidence isn't something we're all handed. It's something we build one honest step at a time. So settle in and join me for this conversation with Molly Kristick. Thank you so much, Molly, for joining me today. You have been through a lot in these last few months, and so I want to start with this very simple question. Who is Molly today, and what is this season you're becoming in?
I would say the Molly today is a very confident leader. And it takes a long time to be a confident leader, especially when you're coming into new leadership positions at different companies. So that is my main focus, is being a trusted, confident leader at the company that I'm currently in.
Oh, I love that. That is so true. And I'm going to jump ahead because you're kind of leading into one of the questions I have to ask you. How are you walking into a new room with confidence when you haven't earned their trust yet?
That is the hardest thing. And I think that when I learned what imposter syndrome in the workplace was, I was like, oh my God, I feel so seen. And it's always in the back of my mind, like, I haven't earned their trust. I haven't done the job they're doing. But what helps me is that after, like 13 years in the automotive industry, I have done account management. I have done marketing, done the job. I've carried the bag, as they say. And so I can relate to them. I can talk to them confidently about what's worked for me and what they might want to try. It's hard to be the new person, and it's hard to be a new leader too, because you never know if your leadership style is going to track, and you have to let go of wanting to be liked, because part of being a good leader is really like, you're going to have to build a foundation at a company based on your knowledge and your past, and uncomfortable changes that you have to be the one to make. Like, that's part of it. So hopefully you just kind of trust that as they see that you are leading them in the right direction, that trust and confidence will be gained. But you can't walk in wanting to be liked and be everybody's best friend. And that took me a really long time to understand.
Right? That's really hard because we want to be friends with those around us. But when you're the one responsible for directing them and leading them to where they need to go and helping them be successful, that's a tough thing. It's kind of trying to be friends with your kids. Okay. You can't. Not really.
You can be liked or you can be respected. And it's really hard to find the balance.
Absolutely.
I'm going to find it. I don't have to be liked by everyone, but respect is my main goal.
Absolutely. And I think with respect comes that admiration, and then ultimately you're liked by them. It's just, where are you starting from? I want to back up a little bit because you described that TrueCar buyback as a shockwave. How did that unexpected change really shape the path that you're on now?
I think TrueCar was one of the first companies where I had complete ownership over what I was building. We built an amazing platform. It was really successful. Like dealers liked it, financially successful. And then to kind of have that work just stopped and like halted abruptly, like that was really shocking to me. And then just the sheer amount of people that were laid off. And again, to what we just talked about, business decisions, they're going to be hard. And I'm sure that it's hard to lead a big company like TrueCar and have to make those decisions. But being on the other end of that, it really gave me a moment to just stop and think about how much I loved what I was doing. And I knew that that's what I was looking for in my next chapter was being able to build something um, at a company that really respects and cares for its employees. And I was so lucky that Clairvoy called me the same day. And I couldn't be more grateful to their team. I put the Clairvoy tag on TrueCar.com and our partner sites. So I really got to see firsthand from a marketplace perspective how valuable Clairvoy is, like how it retains clients because they can see more of what you do for them. So I knew that I could help Clairvoy, and it really turned out to be such a blessing, very unexpected.
That's amazing. I haven't heard anything negative about that company or how they take care of their employees. So I'm really excited that you were able to land there. We were supposed to do this months ago, and then that all happened. You're like, hold up, let's wait. Let's see what happens. And I absolutely get it. You were explaining to me in your pre-show notes that this season has been all about being your authentic self. What does authenticity look like for you today? And how does it show up in a way that didn't 5 years ago?
I love that question because 5 years ago, I would not be making a joke while giving a presentation. I would be hyper focused on who attended and who skipped the meeting and who's listening. And it goes back to being just letting go of being liked. You have got to just trust that you can do the job, trust in your own experience. And like, I know that automotive has been my home. It's been my whole career. I tried to step out of automotive and I was like, oh, I don't belong here. So I think it goes back to trusting yourself. If you're not showing up as your authentic self, what is the fun in that? Like, what is the joy in that? I've got a cat that usually comes and sits on my desk. Everyone knows Lou. I have a wild sense of humor, and it feels good to get to come to myself instead of coming to work and trying to be liked or trying to be somebody that just fits in or fills a role. It just feels a lot better.
I love that. And you're right. It's like and I wrote about this, I think it was last month, but if you're coming in and you're not being just you and your authentic self, you're wearing a mask. And now that's just exhausting because you're trying to be something, right? I think at some point, every one of us, especially women, have. But yeah, it is just flat out exhausting to try and be something you're not.
Yeah, but we do it in our personal lives too. And so that is a big change that I've made recently is moving from the northern suburbs of Chicago to Omaha, Nebraska, where I went to college. Grew up. Yeah, so it's like, oh, we come from 10 years in Chicago. We lived in this awesome neighborhood. Like a bunch of the Bears football players lived up there. But with that comes this level of, fitting in and keeping up with the Joneses. And that didn't feel good to me. And when my kids started getting older and going to school, it just reinforced what I found in work and what I found in life is that I can't be stuck somewhere where I can't be myself. And that just goes hand in hand. My work life and my personal life seem to always kind of be on the same ebb and flow.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. There's so much correlation between, but I talk about how burnout doesn't even stay at work, right? We bring it home.
Yeah, that's hard.
I think that's the one thing that people forget is we are complex humans. Things don't fit neatly in little boxes. And compartmentalizing, it doesn't happen, especially for us women. It is so hard to compartmentalize and keep our home life and our work life and everything separate because we have to just let it flow together.
We all have our shit. Somebody very wise told me that. I was like, it was a colleague. I was like, thank you for saying that. And it's helped me be a little bit more compassionate with people that I manage too, because I am very type A. And I'm like, well, I don't understand why this didn't get done. And I have to back up and just be like, oh my God, you are a human. You have a whole life and work takes up more time, arguably, than your personal life. And I need to just be very mindful that everyone's got their shit.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you've told me that you have finally found your voice. So, but I have to ask this question, Molly. What's been keeping you from using it before?
Imposter syndrome has had me in a chokehold for such a long time. There have been early in my career, like being passed up for promotions. And that, again, as a leader, that's a hard decision to make when you're promoting your friends and peers and colleagues. But as the person being passed over, that can really do if you really think that you were right for the job. Being part of a layoff too was like really hard on my self-esteem. And that took a long time to come back from, and to know that, it doesn't have anything to do with your value as an employee. Sometimes it's just a number on a spreadsheet. So really, I think being in the perfect fit as CMO, CXO at Clairvoy, it's a weird role. It's not one that you usually hear together. I ran into an old friend of mine who is now a CEO. I'm so proud of her. And she was like, Molly, this role feels like it was tailor-made for you. And I was like, because it was. They talked to me and they said, you've got client experience background and we want it to bridge marketing, which you also have. And so sitting in a role that was made for me, that was tailored to my experience, has really helped me be confident and know that I'm the right person to lead them in both marketing and CS.
Absolutely. It's so good when someone looks at you and you're like, I don't know how you're going to fit, but we're going to make you fit because you're the right person for us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'd be lucky. I really won the lottery of bosses.
That's amazing. So out of curiosity though, how did you end up moving to where you are?
You mean work-wise or personally in Nebraska?
Personal, because you moved from Chicago over. Sorry. I was like, I didn't even think that's a huge jump from Chicago.
It's also a lot harder than I thought it would be. I grew up in North Platte, Nebraska, which is population of 25,000, very small rural farming town, railroad town. My dad was a railroader from 18 until he retired. So this is my home. And then I went to college in Omaha, and I met my husband when he was coaching for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And so Pure Cars hired me, and it was my first time moving out of Nebraska. And I went to Cincinnati to work for them. And then automotive just kind of took me all over. Chicago is where I really loved and wanted to stay. It's like every small town bumpkin's city dream, because it's like a Midwest city. You don't have to actually go that far. And I loved it. I loved it. And I have my babies there, which you might feel like it doesn't feel like home until you have to leave the place where your kids were born. And that was really weird for me. But moving back home to family support, my sisters, her and her husband and her 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters. Everyone's here. My parents are here. My husband's family is in Arizona, so we're inching closer that way as well. Goes kind of hand in hand with, I'm trying to get back to what feels good and not what looks good. And that's a really big inner shift. So it goes with that.
That's so true. I think we find that when we get older, we're just like, you know what? I'm done playing games. And so that kind of actually is a perfect segue into this next question I have for you, because I want to ask, was there a moment when you realized you no longer had to prove yourself?
Yeah. And it coincided with my career coming together, and it kind of forces you to take a hard look at your personal life too and say, do I even want to be here? Or am I just here because I feel like this is what I always wanted and what I needed to do? Meanwhile, I travel a lot for work. My husband and I had no family there. It was really stressful. It definitely all happened at once. I do not want to use the word epiphany, but it really just came together. And I was like, I need to start taking steps in my professional and personal life to make it feel good, and getting really honest with myself about both where I want to work and what kind of leader I want to be and how I want to show up and where I want to physically live. That had a lot to do with it.
And I would imagine what kind of example you want to show your daughters, right?
Yes, yes. Everybody coins the phrase Nebraska nice, and it is so true. Like, people here are so nice. They just are. And not that people in Chicago and Illinois aren't nice. I have the best friends that I made there, and our kids grew up together, and I love them and will continue to travel with them. But it is just a way of life that I'm very comfortable with here. And I want my kids to grow up with that. I want them to grow up with space and grandparents and cousins and all the things that I didn't appreciate when I was a kid. I'm dragging them back to. So life is funny.
What are you finding out about yourself as a mom through that process?
Well, we're on week number 3. So we've been here for 3 weeks, but the moving process, as a mother, I think every decision that I make, from how much I talked about the move, it was started and ended with protecting my kids. You know, they're 4 and 5. They just had birthdays, 5 and 6 now. And so they're little. And if you talk about it too much, that just creates anxiety for them. Well, exciting for you. So again, just everything I have to take into consideration with them first. How are they going to feel about it? Then my husband and I, as parents, extra gentle when it comes to like the meltdowns and the fighting, because it's hard. It's hard. Everything's new. And I will say they adapted so much better than us. We're still wandering around our house wondering like what we're supposed to do. And they're just happily at a new summer camp. They love it.
Yeah, you're like, where's this box supposed to go? Do I really need to unpack it? And they're just like, I'm out, Mom. Bye. I'm going to go see my new friends.
They're happy. We're just like, where do we want to go get coffee? Where's our new favorite dinner place? Like, we are creatures of habit. So it's been really hard. I am learning a lot about myself, and that like protective mother has really come out in me.
It's wonderful though, as someone who, my youngest is heading off to college in 30 days. I'm just like, I miss those days when they're little. So enjoy them. Oh, and so let me ask you this question. We're going to get back on track a little bit, but I love this side conversations. It's perfect. What is one belief about leadership that you've had to let go in order to become the leader you are today?
Whoa. It's going to be a controversial statement. I hope not, though. Believing that every other leader in the room is right and you're wrong. And like, do you know what I mean? When you walk into a room, especially executive leadership, you always, if you're the newest one, you assume that, do I want to speak up? I'm probably not right. I had an interview and the CEO told me, he's like, well, if I can give you one piece of advice entering an executive leadership position, your opinions matter. They hired you because they want your help and they want to hear what you have to say. And I have carried that with me and I brought it into every room. So I really had to let go of the idea that my opinions weren't valid, or that just because I'm new, I might not know as much. I think there's a lot of power in coming in and seeing an org through fresh eyes, especially having worked in different roles at companies that are vastly different in automotive.
Absolutely. That fresh perspective is, like you said, that's why they hired you. You have this experience. You have this skill set, this passion, this drive. Use it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of it. I love that. Has there been a moment where you caught yourself wanting to keep quiet, where you actually had to like unbite your tongue, so to speak?
I tend to like apologize before I'm going to say something that I know is going to piss me off. But I'm still going to say it. And I'm trying to stop doing that. But no, I've really leaned into, this might be an unpopular opinion, and I am new, but I want to ask why we do it this way. And I think that has been honestly where I'm currently at, just met with no resistance. Like, they are an open book. We're all in it for the company. And that also says so much about a company when everybody is like, has a shared mission. We're working towards the same goal. There are no egos. And that's what I really love about where I'm at right now. They let me do that freely.
That is amazing. You've mentioned that change is uncomfortable. How has leaning into discomfort changed both your career and your confidence?
It's helped me coach employees a lot, is what I've actually found, because I'm making some foundational changes that, shakeup is uncomfortable. If you haven't been in automotive a long time or you've never been in leadership, it really helps to have a leader coach you through that change, not just pull the rug out and say, here's how we're going to do it now. I lean into my team, my directors, and let them know, like, here's the fallout that I expect. Here's what I think is going to happen, but let's stay really close to this and keep an eye on it. And if it isn't the right change, then we walk it back in 90 days, but I want to try it. So if you get everybody excited and leaning in, then it's less uncomfortable for them. They're not like, oh, she's just making all these changes and not thinking about consequences. It's okay, well, maybe this will work. And they're just building their confidence in leadership style and the new person.
Where have you been personally leaning into discomfort?
Well, Nebraska. It's we loved to take the train into the city. We lived in Lake Forest, so it was right there. And we went out in Omaha the other night and we were just like, okay, this is different. Like the vibes are different, but it's enjoyable. Like we are really trying to lean in, and me personally too. It's a different pace of life. Like we moved here for a reason. So we have to just embrace it. And Omaha has a lot to offer. So while it's not Chicago and overrun with people and bars and rooftops, it really is charming, and it's going to do more for my kids than it will for me. And I'm okay with that.
I love that. And that is so true because they will grow up, like you're saying, surrounded by family and community and those things that, yeah, you said you didn't even have family in Chicago. So I would imagine that alone is just going to shape their future in a completely different direction.
Yeah. And we travel a lot. So I hope they leave, I hope they don't stay in Nebraska forever. Like I do hope they leave and try something else out, but I hope they come back. like I did.
Well, if it gives you encouragement, my oldest went and did 6 years in the Air Force, all abroad, and now she lives 30 minutes away with her husband. So
I love you.
Oh, but there is nothing like getting a text message from your kid on the beach in Japan with sushi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I did something right. What do you hope other women, especially those early in their career, learn from your journey, Molly?
Stick with it. I mean, automotive is hard for a lot of different reasons, but it is the industry that hugs you back. It really takes care of its own. Lori Foster is a good example of that. She looks at any layoff and she immediately goes to her socials and tries to help people find jobs and find placement. There are not a lot of other industries like that. So in this age where we're seeing so many layoffs and frankly irresponsible hiring and then layoffs and all these cycles because we're in a weird time, don't immediately think you have to leave automotive. I think that if you love auto, it loves you too. And it's been the best industry for me. I hope that people look at my career and see that it's gone sideways more than once. But ultimately, I landed somewhere I really love and I'm doing what I love. And I'm seeing the success of some of the changes that I've made. And it just, ultimately empowers me to believe that I made the right choice. And I hope they do that too.
I love that. When people are done listening to this conversation, what's one thing you hope they remember about becoming?
I think that for me, this conversation really is about becoming your authentic self and feeling okay with who you are and not needing to be liked and trusting in the skills that you have in the industry that you're in. I think that that's what it's about ultimately. And I think you're right. It is wisdom with age. And it is wisdom with time in the industry. And I'm not there yet. I do not know everything, and I'm sure I will get blindsided again in my career, but I know that I'm on the right path.
I love hearing that because it's showing me when I came up in automotive, that fake it till you make it mentality was everywhere.
Yeah.
And I spent so much of my career silent because I didn't want to look dumb. That kind of mentality makes it really hard to ask a question for somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are supposed to show up like you understand everything. But I love the one thing that I'm hearing from you is it's good to be vulnerable. It's okay to come into a place and know that you carry worth and you carry experience and you carry wisdom and knowledge. But you don't have to be the one with all the solutions. You don't have to be the one that knows everything.
Yeah. That's a really good point. There are so many things that I'm responsible for that I don't know how to fix yet. And I want to be able to talk to people and brainstorm together. And I want people on my team to ask me questions. I don't want them to come to a meeting nervous and feel like they can't ask anything because, hell, I've got a lot of questions for them too. I think that how people learn and grow is by raising their hand.
So true. So true. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. This was wonderful. Thank you for giving me the platform and the time. And I always love talking to you.
As you know, every interview, I wrap up with this one question. What is something you wish I would have asked you that I didn't today?
Ooh, I wish you would ask me what we're building at Clairvoy. That's so exciting.
Okay, well, what are you building at Clairvoy that's so exciting?
We are actually working on a huge redesign of not only our website experience, but some of our flagship reports and data processing speeds. And we've got a new executive starting on Monday who spent a lot of time in automotive and a lot of time at Apple engineering.
Okay.
And so I am pumped. And like from a marketing perspective and client experience, like this is the Super Bowl for me to get to work with a top notch engineer like that and then go to market with it. So that's my plug. It's my one Clairvoy plug.
I love it. I love it. Well, Molly, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. I am excited. I know this is going to drop after Women in Automotive, but I am excited to see you in just a few days and give you a big hug.
Thank you so much. I'll see you there.
I'll see you there.
Bye.
Thank you for spending your time with us today on Her Becoming. And a special thank you to our guest today for sharing her story so openly. Women like her remind us what courage and growth look like in real time. I'm grateful if this conversation encouraged you, but I hope it does something else. I hope it also reminds you of something important. Your story is not finished yet. Wherever you find yourself in the process, keep building. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, consider sharing this episode with them. You never know how a story of becoming might encourage someone else to keep moving forward. Until then, thank you for being here. And while we're all still building, please pardon our dust.